but we kind of melded with economic justice. First, we sort of talked about what people understand as a commons, and the first thing that came out was land, because that's really what people have in their head. But then also ideas, open source technologies, energy, resources, building. We talked, I don't want to read our notes here. Okay, and then, the other really useful bit, turn this off so you and so then we talked about different things that people are doing now, what has been inspiring people. There's something called Street Bank, which is a social enterprise, which is about sharing skills. There's the thing that's happening with the E15 mothers and how they're reclaiming council housing as a right. Also the transition movement was mentioned. Things that we could do now, what also was mentioned was trying to have your own solar power plant and selling that back in, to come together about debt problems, about basic income, that might be financed through various means, but certainly the things that we hold in common. Let's see. And then also just in organizing communities, food co-ops, file sharing, etc. That's skills banks. Sort of also alternative ways that people have used to share things between each other, and also to and also that there are various things. There's going to be a conference in February, hopefully, about the commons, which Nika and Tim are organizing, where they'll have stalls with many different groups to talk about what they're doing, and also working on something called a debt audit, which is to look at local finance and see how that's actually structured and where that's spent. And also an initiative called Occupy Local, which is to try to build, if I understand right, to build sort of communal assemblies, a bit like what Ben before was talking about. So maybe you guys can anyway, thanks.
Thank you.
I just titled the Holding Politicians Accountable for this one. Basically, Arvin's sort of question or topic was effectively about politicians and their effectively bad reputation for lying.
I don't lie. We're not all bad.
You're not all bad.
We all lie, except me.
So basically, one of the ideas that came up is that, particularly in these kinds of forums, there's a lot of good ideas that sort of pumped around and whatever it might be, but we were really interested in how you can translate that into practice. And we're looking at something to once, and then maybe just concern for everyone, the upcoming elections. Arvin was particularly looking at a report that was compiled in 2001 with regards to how corruption takes place in the relationships between politicians, etc., and how he's involved in updating that, and how he wants that to be publicized and then transformed into a pledge that he wants all upcoming politicians to sign. And although there is already legislature that forces politicians to sort of adhere to their pledges or whatever it might be, that isn't always the case, as we've seen with, for instance, the Nick Clegg, the infamous Nick Clegg, etc. So the whole idea is that we use institutions like 38 Degrees, Change.org, Occupy, UK Uncut, etc., to get this pledge out, to get people to know about it, and to see what politicians will be signing, and to have a list of the politicians that did sign it and didn't sign it, so that you get an affirmation of the politicians that are actually serious about adhering to these laws. And then when they do break their promises, I say when, if, when, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, then at least that can it can inform people as to the sort of, I suppose, the corruption that is implicit in mainstream politics. So what it does is, effectively, although we don't think that it's going to necessarily mean that politicians are going to all be honest, it allows for the public to feel engaged and at least to feel as if there's an explicit contract between them and their constituencies. So yeah, that's pretty much the idea. If you want to find out more about it, Ovid has some cards with regards to critical thinking at the Free University, and they meet, I think, on a weekly basis, where he'll probably be able to discuss in more detail the plans and what's in that actual report.
That's just been flashed before your eyes. What's going to happen to it? Somebody might scan it, somebody might even type it. It's going to be on flat paper, and then it'll be passed over and it'll be sort of buried in history. Lots of good ideas. The idea of the map is to capture all that in several dimensions. Now, a map we normally think about geography. So if you're doing something local, you need a map, and you need to show what kinds of decisions are appropriate to take place at what level and who's doing what where. It should all be mapped. And then there's a conceptual map. What kind of a project is this? Is this something which requires a change in the law? Is this something that we can organise ourselves to do within the existing structures? Is this something that is just making things a bit better, but it does help? And we should form coalitions of similar projects, and the map enables people to find who else is working on it. Now, there were just 3 of us, and we found that even with the 3 of us, people were working. We knew of people working on exactly the same thing who didn't even know each other. And that is what the map is for. I didn't have time, we were talking so much, so I just put a few web references. This young lady is a PhD researcher. She's got an organisation of 15 paid workers doing this stuff already, and nobody even knows. So here she is, and but it's participative. The idea is it's a platform where people will be given accounts so they can put their stuff there, and using the technology that we have. So this is our own Facebook, the serious stuff.
So, I'm going to hand over to Julie in a second. Just a couple of points before that. One is that there's been a suggestion that anybody who wants to continue this debate in a more informal setting, there's a pub. Who's somebody who mentioned it to me? Yeah, what's the name of the pub? The Rocket. So there's the pub, the Rocket, just next door. If you want to continue, we can go to the pub afterwards and continue our work in a formal way. Yeah, we're just going to close up now because this is the last event of the Putney Debates, and Julie is just going to wrap that up. And also we're going to be putting up a piece of paper at the exit where you can put down your emails if you want to stay in the loop. Perhaps we can pull together all the information that's come out of these working groups, and so that we can stay connected, as Mary was just suggesting, as best we can.
Thank Julie and Andy for putting this up.
Yes, thanks very much. Just arising from a lot of
So we can't hear you over here.
I'm aware that a lot of the way that we now organising is online, and I just want to repeat that people like Elena and others here who are not in online, or those who don't
we will be doing an email list. So if you put your name and address here, what we'll use that for is to take photographs of all the information down here. And if there's anybody who's got particular projects, if you could email me the links, so to speak up if you're doing anything about how to stay in touch about the project that you're working on with local assemblies, and likewise Tim about commenting, the people, anybody else who's got projects, just grab me down the pub and I'll send all that information out. So at the very least, I think there's a couple of different options. I will send out, anyone who gives their email address, I will send out that information and a copy of all the paperwork. And if people are interested, I can also send them an email list so that we can all stay in touch with each other. Well, if people are up for it, then what we could do is, if we take down names and addresses, then if someone is willing to be a volunteer to actually do a mail out, that would be fine. So, yeah, but is someone willing to do like a physical mail out?
Carl.
I don't think we can nominate anybody to do that. Yeah, I think that's going to take.
Who wants to do that?
I think we'll contact you if people are actually here. So if anybody isn't on an email list and can't use electronic means, if you're willing to help out with the mail list as well, so do put your address down there, and if someone volunteers, then we'll do that as well. So I'm going to have to wrap up now because we do have to be out here by 4:20. And this is the last Putney Debates. There's also a donation box as well to put to help the cost and things like that. Thank you very much for coming along.
Hey!